What's good? It's your boy Jay, that's me. Let's discuss NXT Gold Rush Week 2 for June the 27th, 2023. This was a very solid, fun show. I enjoyed the vast majority of this show. Enjoyed it. Absolutely fun. So we kicked the show off with Carmelo Hayes and Baron Corbin arriving to the arena. Baron Corbin pulled up in a nice Porsche, and Carmelo just helped the flight. So this leads us into our first match of the night, that being Thea Hale versus Tiffany Stratton for the NXT Women's Championship. This match was solid, but we got a dreaded commercial. So we had a picture-in-picture. Don't like it. I feel like sometimes you should just go to a commercial, maybe at least within the first 7 minutes of the show at least. Like a full-fledged commercial, no picture-in-picture. So as the match continued on, Drew Gulak and Charlie Dempsey, they came out to support Thea Hale. So Thea Hale was able to duck a clothesline, and she puts Tiffany Stratton into a Kimura lock, another one. And then there is a distraction by, I think, Dempsey and Gulak. So Thea Hale, she argues with the referee, and then Tiffany rolls her up for the 1-2-3, which makes sense. That was a smart decision. Wise finish. I'm fine with that. Post-match, Tiffany Stratton, she stands tall. Then Gulak and Charlie Dempsey, they join Duke Hudson and Thea Hale in the ring. But then, out of nowhere, they start to beat down Duke Hudson. And so Thea Hale yells at them to stop. Out comes Andre Chase, who's been gone for a month and a half, almost 2 months. He comes out to a big pop, and then he takes out Gulak and Dempsey. And then Duke Hudson and Andre Chase team up and fight off Dempsey and Gulak. So that's cool right there. I enjoyed that. Glad to see Andre Chase back. Maybe he was injured. Maybe he was just, taking a little bit of time off. I don't know. Whichever one. I'm fine that he's back. Really good stuff. We get a excellent hype video on my boy Ilya Dragunov. Badass shit. Loved it. Said that he loves pain. Said that he feels alive with pain. Just a really good hype video for him. And I enjoy it. And then he said something in Russian, which meant unbreakable. So I do like that. I don't know what he's going to be doing as we get closer to Great American Bash in late July. But we shall soon find out. We have about 4.5 weeks to build to that show. Moving on. So we see Joe Coffey and Wolfgang and Mark Coffey walking backstage, and they say they haven't heard from Joe Coffey. The champs also say they would deal with Stacks after winning tonight. So we cut to Edris, Enofe, and Malik Blade walking backstage. That leads us into our next match, which is Edris, Enofe, and Malik Blade versus Gallus for the NXT Tag Team Championships. This was a solid, fun match. In the end, Stacks came down. I thought that he was going to attack one of the Gallus boys, but he doesn't. So he, I think there's like a uppercut to, I believe it was Enofe. And so then Stacks shoves Enofe back into the ring, And then that allows for the Gallus boys to hit their finish for the 1, 2, 3, and still tag champs, Gallus. So Gallus on top. So they stand tall with the titles post-match. Stacks stares them down, while Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo stand above. So it sucks that my boys weren't able to capture the gold, and I kind of wish they would have been able to do that, because as we see later on in the show, we'll see why that should have been the right decision, where they should have beaten Gallus. So this is interesting. But man, that was a solid, fun match. I really enjoyed that tag match right there. Really good shit. Really good shit. Moving on. So Mackenzie Mitchell, she's backstage with Metaphor. She keeps asking Noam Dar about the NXT Heritage Cup, but he doesn't want to talk about it. Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson send the warning to Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. Yeah, right. You're not going to win the tag titles at all. Keep dreaming, ladies. So, Oro Mensah goes on about Metaphor being the best. Then he cuts the interview short. Mackenzie asks Noam Dar for a prediction on tonight's Heritage Cup match, and he says that she sucks. Really good stuff there. I'm fine with that. I wouldn't mind seeing Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend take on Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. They'll probably end up doing that around Great American Bash. The match wouldn't go long anyway, because Jakara Jackson, my girl, needs some work big time. She's a good look on the eyes, but damn, she needs some work, some major work. She needs to get back in that kitchen and find a recipe that works for her. Other than that, she looks good on the eyes. Damn, she looks good. All right, moving on. Schism drama. Oh, boy. So, the Schism, they have a family meeting for whatever reason. I have no idea why. The Schism has failed being a faction, and they've been a faction for a small bit over a year, a little over a year. So Ava talks about the tension and turmoil and says all their feelings are valid and they don't hide emotion. She asked if they can express themselves freely in the name of family, and Joe Gacy goes ahead. So Jagger Reed gets on the mic and says, talks about Joe Gacy bringing them together a year ago, but now it's like they're just enhancing Gacy's life. Reed says the Dyads' bond is going on 18 years and they're losing trust in Gacy. He says either Joe has lost his way or he's full of crap. So Ava then begins to snap at Reed. Gacy says he owns his own shortcomings, but thanks Jagger for his honesty. Gacy recalls the Dyad being two lost souls who he saved from obscurity and gave a home. Rip Fowler says they were in a bad place and beat up when Gacy found them and showed them a new way. But now they're seeing cracks, and Joe is flip-flopping on what he says about exclusivity. Rip says they're starting to realize who they really are, and maybe the problem is never was them. Maybe. So Ava then snaps at Rip Fowler. Joe says he did preach inclusivity, and that brought them Ava, which he never will apologize for. Joe goes on and says the Dyad is different now. They're ready to take over the world, and that was not the case 1 year ago when he found them. So Gacy continues to go on until he's interrupted by Diamond Mine. Julius Creed still wearing those bizarre glasses for whatever reason. This is the week 2 of that. I don't know why he's doing that. Brutus Creed and Ivy Nile, my girl. So the two factions, they trade some shots, and then Joe proposes the Creeds versus the Dyad in a losers leave NXT match. So the creeds they accept. Now, this is interesting because this could work out either way. Now, we know, kayfabe, that the Dyad want to basically essentially be released from the WWE. I know their contracts are up around October. I could see them going to the main roster, and since the Triple H is sort of kind of in charge, I could see him allowing them to revert back to the Grizzled Young Vets. That would add much more depth into the tag division. Probably put them on Raw. I could see them doing that. I could also see the Creed Brothers leaving and going to the main roster as well. So it's a toss-up. I don't know who's going to win that. I really can't pick. I really can't. I will be fine with the Creeds leaving, and I'll be fine with the Dyad leaving. But if I had to really pick, I would rather see the Creeds go, honestly, because the Creeds are ready for that main roster. The Creeds will easily get over on the main roster. You could put them together with Alpha Academy and do some real fun shit there. So that's what I hope they do. So it's interesting to see that they're going to do that next week. Because if they put the Dyad on the main roster, they're just going to revert back to the Grizzled Young Vets. And it's just going to be another work rate tag team who won't really go anywhere. You know? So hopefully we see the Creeds eat the loss next week, and then we can have them on the main roster. Because they've done everything they have in like a year and a half being on NXT. And they're great. They're great. So that would be tremendous. Moving on. So we get a hype video for Bronco Nima and Lucian Prince. They talk about their backgrounds in football and the bond they have. They didn't come to NXT to play games. They came to dominate. And then we cut to Axiom Scripts, Hank and Tank, watching the Nima and Price promo backstage. So Scripts says Nima and Price are going to do damage to NXT. Hank mentions they're bringing a new team around with Axiom and Scripts. The NXT the NXT Heritage Cup champion, Nathan Frazier, walks by, and Axiom wishes him good luck for the night. Scripts tells Axiom it looks like he's interested in the cup. Axiom says he's drawn to it. I'm just like, man, just stay in a tag team, dude. You're going to lose that one. Like, seriously, just go ahead and revert back to just being a kid and find a new character. Like, Axiom sucks ass. This is an okay little segment. Moving on. So, Trick and Mello, they're backstage warming up. Out of nowhere, we see Rhea Ripley come into play. She walks up, the fans pop, and Rhea says that she's going to warn Carmelo and Trick, threatening them if they get involved in the Judgment Day's business again, and then she walks off. Okay, that's fine, I guess. So we do know in due time, Finn Balor will probably do a program starting next week with Carmelo. Start to build that program. So there's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge there. All right, moving on. Next, Dragon Lee versus Nathan Frazier for the NXT the NXT Heritage Cup. Very solid match here. So Frazier gets the first fall via a sunset flip roll-up from off the middle rope. Dragon Lee gets the second fall via the power bomb. And then Nathan Frazier retains via a roll-up with 1 second left to go on the clock. So that was fine here. I was thinking that we might see a little Dragon Lee heel turn, but it didn't happen. I don't know why I thought about that, but it is what it is. So, both Dragon Lee and Nathan Frazier that shake hands, and they have a show of respect. So that's fine, but I feel bad for my boy Dragon Lee. I don't know where he goes from here. I really don't. He's been eating a lot of crow as of late. Don't like it, but hopefully they begin to push him eventually. I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to just get him used to things instead of just, going ahead and just strapping the Rocket to him because he's a international sensation, which they probably will end up, strapping the Rocket to his back. They'll do that in due time for sure. So it is what it is. I would assume that it's going to be Frazier versus Axiom maybe next week, if not within the next few weeks. Who really cares? Moving on. So we get a very good promo for next week's NXT Underground match of Eddie Thorpe versus Damon Kemp. So I don't know why that makes sense. So I can't wait for that. That should be good. So we see a vignette that shows Gable Steveson training Thorpe to fight his brother. They stop, and Gable says that Eddie's doing great. Just stick to the game plan and don't let Damon Kemp get into his head. They train some more, and Eddie says he would be honored if Gable came out with him to the ring next week. Gable agrees and thanks him. Gable says he's got Eddie's back. So it was a really solid little vignette there. Just a bunch of decent takedowns, grapples, stuff like that. Should be interesting. It might be the main event. I hope not, but it basically seems like it. They're probably going to end up wanting to do the main event with this. I think that would be tremendous. It was kind of cool how Damon was taking jabs at... how Gable was taking jabs at Damon. I like that. It's really good stuff. Kind of keeping kayfabe alive there a little bit. Moving on. So, Wes Lee, he's talking to Miles Bourne backstage. Ali walks in and Bourne leaves. Ali apologizes for slapping Wesley last week. He says he wanted a clean finish so bad that he may have gotten a little bit too involved. Lee says Ali should stick to being a wrestler. Tyler Bate walks in. He expresses frustration over last week and how Mustafa Ali called the match unfairly. Bate wants another shot at the title, but Ali also wants a shot. Bate offers to be the special guest referee. They continue to argue some more, and then Wesley walks off. So there's that. That's fine. So the two of them are going to face each other next week, that being Tyler Bate and Mustafa Ali. The winner should be the new number one contender to face Wes Lee, preferably at the Great American Bash, so we can build a proper feud, a proper story. Next, moving on, Mr. Stone's backstage looking for Von Wagner. Stone finally finds him. They said they're supposed to meet up. Von says Stone wouldn't understand and mentions everything his family had to go through. Von says Stone just doesn't get it. He says he can't do this, and then he walks off. Okay, that's fine. Next, Kiana James versus Gigi Dolan. In a very okay match, Gigi gets the win via a crucifix for the 1, 2, 3. Post-match, Gigi celebrates for a second, and then Kiana James attacks her from behind with a loaded bag, which she tried to use earlier on in the match, but the referee caught her. So Kiana James then pulls out multiple cans of paint. She pours them all over Gigi. The colors were orange and blue. Next, we get a very good segment here. So a disheveled Joe Coffey visits Tony D in jail. Tony wants to know how Joe got on his visitation list, and Joe says he knows people too. Tony thought Stacks took Joe on a long ride, but Joe says a lot has changed since Tony got locked up. Tony says Gallus are rats who got him locked up, and Stacks will handle him. Tony says they must have Triple team Stacks. Joe says the underboss has a mind of his own. Tony says no, Stacks is family. Joe says Stacks sold him out, but Tony won't believe it. Joe pulls out a phone and plays a recording of Stacks working out a deal with Joe to lay low for a week. Stacks is also heard saying he's done being the underboss and a new Don is on the streets. Stacks says he'll be in touch, and then Joe closes the phone and taunts a shocked Tony D a bit, and then he leaves. So that's cool right there. Really good shit. I love this. Absolutely tremendous. This is perfect. This was a ruse from the start. Perfect. Hopefully we see 2 dimes come into play. We might. And this is going to be leading to a match between Tony D and Stacks. Sign me up. I really do enjoy that. That would be tremendous. This should start a really decent feud right here. I don't want a one-on-one match between these two. Not a normal match, because that right there basically becomes personal. So I would do maybe like a no DQ match or something like that, or maybe a steel cage. Something where there's weapons involved. Do it at the Great American Bash, and that would be tremendous. This is great. I love this. Absolutely good stuff right here. Tremendous. Great job. Moving on. So, Roxanne Perez was getting ready for something earlier on in the night, but she's attacked by Blair Davenport. So she was on the NXT Snapchat show, so she got attacked. So that's okay. Moving on. So Jessie Jane is backstage ranting about Lyra Valkyria to Tatum Paxley and others. She promises to take care of Lyra if she shows up tonight. Lyra's behind Jessie Jane, listening to her rant. Then Lyra drops Jane with a hard left, and she reminds her that she's not playing games. Then Rhea Ripley walks up and taunts Jessie Jane, and then says Lyra is a badass. So, interesting here. Interesting. So, Ava and the Dyad, they're backstage, and they want to know what's up with Joe Gacy booking them in the losers leave NXT match, and she tells them to calm down. Ava says they think the Dyad, she says that she thinks that the Dyad is a strong enough team. Jagger has issues with making others' decisions that will impact their careers, but Ava says they're fighting for their careers, and Joe does have a plan. Jagger says if Joe doesn't, he and Rip will have a plan. So that makes sense. That's fine. Can't wait for that. Main event, Baron Corbin versus Carmelo Hayes. Baron Corbin has his long whoop persona back, which is great. So he gets his old theme song back. I love that. So Carmelo gets the win via the Nothing But Net for the 1-2-3 in an okay match. Post-match, the crowd gives him a standing ovation, and Trick and Melo, they celebrate. So the camera cuts backstage. We hear Bron Breakker yelling inside the office of Shawn Michaels. Bron is yelling about how he's beating everyone and no one can control him. Bron storms out of the office, and the cameraman asks what's going on. Bron says to shut up, and he says everyone will find out next week. So I like that. That's pretty cool. Forgot to mention, we also had a little debut of somebody with Dana Brooke. I'm trying to find it. Let me go back up here in the notes. Hopefully they were able to get it down. If not, it is what it is. Looking for it. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay, yep, here it is. Forgot to mention this last thing. So Dana Brooke, she's backstage getting her knee iced in the trainer's room from last week. So newcomer, Kalani Jordan walks up and says they exchanged a minor piece of praise and look forward to wrestling each other. So that was that. I don't know why that is. I don't know why she looks to Dana Brooke as being an influence. Dana Brooke is not the best person you want to get involved with. Dana Brooke is okay, but come on, man. She's been there for 10 years, and she really hasn't improved all that much. So that was NXT Gold Rush. What did you guys think? I thought it was a really solid show for the most part. I'm excited for next week. I'm very excited for what NXT is doing right now. You know, it's actually one of the better products in WWE. It's better than the main roster outside of the Bloodline stuff. Really good show here, though. I enjoyed it, but what did you guys think? Please hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe for more videos. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.